Hello people, this is the Toy Addict, and in front of you we have the most iconic leader of all time, Optimus Prime, aka Earthrise leader class, Optimus Prime. And here you go, there's the trailer, and there's the cab, and there's Optimus Prime. And I have to say, this is the best looking Optimus Prime we have gotten in years. I would rival this with that of the same as being a masterpiece Optimus Prime. But anyway, besides all that, let's get out of that and let's take a good look at Optimus Prime. So in front of us, we have Prime with his trailer. Now, it's been a long time since we got Optimus Prime with a trailer. The closest that we got was the Titans Return. I guess that's Ultra Class now. Optimus Prime, but that trailer turned into kind of a robot body, and it really doesn't look that good. This one is a little short, just a tad, but it looks really good. The paint job on this is very exquisite. When I'm not talking about the trailer is, could have standed a better shade of blue there, but hey, that's just me. But I'm not going to nitpick. I'm just going to enjoy the glory that is Optimus Prime. So, of course, we have a trailer. We have a cab. So we're going to take the trailer off for a second and put that to the side real quick. And let's look at the cab. And the cab is a nice shade of blue. This is it's not as blue as maybe the animated one, but it's a striking blue. A little different shade, as well as the red. And let's start with the front of the cab. The front of the cab looks very good. I'm impressed with the front, with those nice blue tinted windows. I mean, that does give them that almost animated look. I love to see this when this gets an animated deco like they did for the Siege Optimus Prime. You've got working headlights there too. You can see that as well. And then also you have the wheels. They for the most part roll. Here on the cab, you've got the fuel tanks here at the bottom. A nice silver there, and the bottom's got a gap in it. Kind of reminds me of the gap that comes with the other Optimus Prime, the one that's Studio Series 32. Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie has a kind of similar gap, but this gap's not as bad as that one. That one has a very big gap. The wheels are weird. You got the newer wheels here, but then you got this, which looks more like a truck wheel. Like, I would rather had they had those wheels on here throughout the cab, and the trailer. These wheels seem a little cheap to me, but, that's Hasbro. We've got some smokestacks. I mean, while they're not really long, they're not nubs, and, that's a good thing. So now under here, we're going to look at the trailer. And under here, I've got the gun, because that's where I store the gun in the trailer. Because, you don't really want to see a gun in the back. It looks like another fuel tank. But we're going to put that to the side for a second. And let's open up the trailer. So first things first, you'll notice on the back here that there's the trailer. And you open this up, and it's got like a little robot inside there. And there's this right here that folds down. So now you can make kind of like that iconic repair bay. And let's face it, it's lackluster. I mean, they probably would have had to charge maybe $10 or $20 more to give us a better trailer. And I would tell you, I'll pay that if they give us, something where I don't have to add on or spend more money to do that. And then, of course, you can take this off, and it becomes a shield. And, you can put that on the arm of Optimus Prime, and it also can combine with the other bases there. So, but I don't do that whole shield thing. Prime doesn't run around with a shield. He just shoots people. But it's a thing you can do, and if you want to do it, it's all up to you. And then here you have the little robot thing that can actually come off. And hold on 1 second. I always forget if I did this right or not, because I did play with this once. There we go. I don't use the trailer. Trailer stays in the box. But you know, you got the, like I said, you got the iconic look from 1984, and I think that's pretty good. And you can stand it up and put Prime in there if you want, you know. So, and then also this can become a backpack. But we also know too that they're going to come out with the accessory pack that's going to come with that drone. I got mine on pre-order, so hey, I'm going to get those accessories because, oh man, those things look sweet. And when, of course, Earthrise Megatron comes out, if I decide to get him, he's got also weapons for him. So you can do that iconic fight on that bridge or on... I laugh at that every time. So we're going to put him to the side for a second because we're probably going to be using that later on. So let's get him out of the way. And I actually wanted to do this. Too while I move him out the way. So actually we're going to put the trailer back the way it is. And we're going to put the gun back on there. And I'll tell you why in a moment. Because we're going to do some comparisons with other primes. So while we have him in vehicle mode, let's bring out Siege. And Siege is a bit bigger. Let's take a look at that. Siege is actually a little bigger. Yeah, a little longer. But believe me, they're the same height. Let's look at the front. And I also have the animated one, but he's always in robot mode. I just like it in vehicle mode because of the panels from the side. And this has a cherry red, like a more cherry red than this red. This red is a little subdued. I wish this red matched this red on the Siege Prime, but you know, that's just wishful thinking. And then let's look at it from the side. And Siege almost looks like the Japanese trucks that you see in Japan, like those Japanese rigs and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of that more than just like a Cybertronian vehicle, but some people are going to say it's Cybertronian. I don't think it's Cybertronian. It kind of reminds me of that, especially in the front. But both of them look really good. And there's a hole there. And take this gun is trash. And put that there. And just for a second, we're going to imagine that he has a trailer. And you know what? He's got it. It looks pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it actually looks better on him a little bit. You know? Just the wheels. And it does kind of turn, but not quite because it's kind of long. You know, and the peg hole is way up ahead of him. So that's why it kind of looks a little out of place. And then, of course, you may just put the gun right there and just be like, you know, attack. Pew, 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 pew. Put your little blasters in there. I'm not going to get those. But it's a thing you can do if you want to. And if you don't, well, it's up to you. It's your toy. Enjoy it. I always hated these smokestacks, but I'm not really into customizing, doing too much of that. And I always thought that was just pretty cool, that he could carry the trailer. But it just works better with him because of where the peg placement is and the shorter body. But it's amazing how both of them are the same size. And for those that remember this guy, this is Henke, Optimus Prime. Now, this was a very sought-after toy. The 2006 version, the original, and then in 2008 it came out with Henke, and this was the truck. This was the truck. It's got the wind vane, I know, and it's got the kind of slope front, but this still is one of my favorite looking primes. I still think it's, because the way it was designed to be standalone without a trailer. And no, there's no peg hole for it to fit. There's no mod. It wouldn't fit. That's about as much as you can get, Now he might be able to kind of hold it, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I think it works better with Studio Series Prime. Let's see if we put the stacks down, what would happen. So, it'll hold it, but it's just not gonna catch. Even if you put it there, it's just, unless somebody made a mod or something, it's still it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. I think the Fans Project trailer is, the iconic trailer to go with that. And let's take Prime, because we're going to bring him back. And we're going to bring him back. And it's something that I always wanted to do, because now that we have him, let's put him back together. Let's move that gun out the way. Man, an F-15 jet is huge. It's huge, man. I'm telling you, man. This is the craziest comparison. I'm telling you, in real life, man, this is you know what I'm saying? That's all I have to compare it to, because that's all I have transformed at the moment in the vehicle mode. But yeah, so comparably to a jet, because this is what I want to always compare it to. In real life, this is what it would kind of be compared to. This thing is, believe it or not, how big Prime is. When you put these in vehicle mode, they just dwarf this. It's just amazing. Hasbro is stepping up their game. Give Hasbro their props. Now we're going to come back and we're going to do the next phase and compare the robot modes and then sum it up, because I like to make these things not too long. So by the power of YouTube, editing and magic, we'll be right back. We're back, YouTube. And now we got Optimus Prime transformed. We got the trailer open up and he's being repaired, just for fun. And he's all fixed now. So let's kind of pull him away from the repair bay and get a better look at him. Oh yeah, that Prime, look at him. Going back up a little bit. No, we're going back up. There we go. Look at that Prime. Look at those details. Look at that. Look at the blue, shiny metallic paint. The metallic paint on the head. Look at the back. The back is, the wheels are there, but they did a good job, man. For Voyager, for a mainline Voyager, they did a pretty good job. So if you can look closely at the legs, they're like inverted from the Siege version. So we're going to take the gun and we're going to open it up so he can put it in his hands, and his hands open up. They open up and they swivel, so you can get that look. So when he's passing the matrix off, you can do that if you like. So we're going to put the gun in his hand. And it looks good. But when they come out with that accessory pack, he's going to have the longer looking rifle. Oh my gosh. Man, that accessory pack, when it comes out. Yes, I will be doing a video review of that. So we can do a quick comparison with this Prime. And, they borrow from each other. But the changes made to the current Prime, to Leader Earthrise Prime, are, oh wow, just so much better. Like when you look at him, the arms are the same in certain spots, but comparatively, I just prefer the new Earthrise Prime. At first I didn't, but now I do. And when I look at him more closely, I'm just like, oh my goodness, that boy look good. But the head sculpt is a little better. Because he looks a little more alive there. And you can swap the heads, but I'm not going to go through all that. So the articulation is pretty much the same, but now the waist kind of moves independently, so you can do some, you can do stuff like that. He can do let's back up again. He can do the, Captain Morgan stance. You can do that. It's pretty cool. But it's pretty much the same articulation. Legs go back, and of course, that's going to get in your way. So, if you want to do that, you can do that. You can do that. He's, Matrix. Let's see if we can get dynamic poses and get him to stand up. Oh snap, look at Prime, man. Prime's like, ah! Let's take a good look at that. Let's take a look at that. Run, like, yo, that is neat. So yeah, there's a lot of articulation points in there. You know, that's the thing you can do. And I mean, you know, hey, you'll have a lot of fun with him. Something about this Prime just makes it seem more grown up for a mainline toy. I don't know what it is. If it's just the, you know, just the paint job. It has a serious look to it. The only thing a lot of people wished is these were painted red and the elbows were painted red here. Well, I mean, those are certain things nitpicky, but other than that, and you can't change the parts because they're pins versus screws, so hey. But other than that, I like the way it looks. Now we're going to do some more comparisons. And through YouTube magic, we'll be back again, and then we'll be really, really done at this time. Now it's time for comparisons to other toys. First things first, one of my favorites that I need to do a review on is Hoist. See how he stands next to Hoist? Man, he should be a little bigger than Hoist. I always feel like Prime should be a lot taller. Like a little taller, maybe about right here. And that would make him more substantial. But this is what we got. This is what we get. You know, hey. So they look good together. Next is my man Grapple. Grapple. And again, you know, Grapple, you know, still pretty big. But then, in reality, wouldn't a crane vehicle be kind of bigger than you know, a cab? You know, but again, you know, this Hasbro. And let's move them out the way real quick. And we'll bring in some smaller guys. So here's Wheeljack, which, you know, that again is a good fitting size. Like I said, I'm not one to, you know, really get into scale myself, but, you know, it does look good. And let's bring in the old man. Many of y'all may have heard of him. Master Roshi. It's Alpha Trion. Optimus, I must give you something. You know, here's Alpha Trion. He's looking like Master Roshi. You got to get one of these Alpha Trions if you could find one. You know, he's probably on the expensive side, but he works well with Siege line and the Earthrise line. Hell, came out round still under the Generations line. So that looks pretty good. And, you know, one more comparison. 2006 Optimus Prime, aka Convoy. Now, since we're not really going to get like Japanese versions of the Earthrise toys, you know, it was kind of cool back then to get a G1S paint style. And that's what they did with the Henke line. And, you know, if you look at them now, comparison, I mean, this Prime, I still have a soft spot for this Prime. I'm sorry, y'all. I still like the way this Prime looks. These colors are bold. They may not show up on camera, but the red is a hell of a lot deeper. The blue is a lot darker. You know, the silvery chrome paint. He just looks good. I mean, but unfortunately, he's got these issues, and the biggest issues was the arms. And I guess for a lot of people, they also wanted a bigger Prime, and we didn't get that. We still got the same size Prime. But the tools are better these days. The tools are a lot better. The articulation is better. You know, there are panels that are folding up, and they're folding up in a way where a lot of the vehicle mode is hiding. Not a lot, at least the tires are still showing on Earthrise Prime, but, you know, the flip around switch to give him, you know, the same legs, but just slightly different. You know, hey, they had to do what they had to do. But all of these Primes aside, the biggest thing that I like, that I love, is, oh, the matrix of leadership. The matrix. Let's zoom in closer. And you're wondering why I'm not taking it out. Because I had a hard time getting it back in. Okay? But through the power of Zoom, we can see it. And we can see it. And that's about as much as I can go. But man, he's got a matrix. So there's a lot of care and thought process in the thought process of creating this Earthrise Prime that, all in all, this, you know, we can nitpick, but I will give them their props for doing that. And I think I'm gonna try to take it out. Oh God, I'm scared. See? All right, and we took it out, and let's get a better shot of it. Yeah, see? It's pretty good. It does its thing. It's cool. It's cool. It's a matrix. So we're gonna put him back in his chest, and my final thoughts are right here and right now. At the end of the day, this is the best Optimus Prime, hands down. One of the best Optimus Primes that we could ever get. It's not $400 or $500. I mean, you know, because nowadays, what's the going rate of a Prime these days? If you want that masterpiece Prime, and I know there's people out there like, well, you can't afford it. Masterpiece in itself is cool, but I don't feel like spending $1 million. I just don't have that. I'm not going to kill myself to work for it. I have other expenditures, and especially in the toy game, we're talking about, I collect Solar Chogakin, and Solar Chogakin is pretty much the same price as Masterpiece. And screw your Optimus Prime, because when Volts V come out, that's $700. You think my wife's gonna let me spend $700? I'm gonna spend $700. Shh. So I don't want to hear about it. But if you want to spend $50, and even on Amazon, he's $50 right now. He's finally come down to the regular retail price. You have to get Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime is iconic. You have to have Optimus Prime. If you're a collector, you've got about at least 3 Optimus Primes. I've got so many, I'm not even going to go and grab them all. I've got third party. I've got classics. I don't have any G1. I don't collect G1. Don't want to collect G1. Don't like G1 anymore. Because this stuff is our G1 now. This is the new G1. Take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? It works. This is what's really going to sell down the line. As a collector, you can't go wrong with owning an Optimus Prime. You can't go wrong with owning a Megatron. Oh, really quick. Here's Megs. And I don't know when that other Megatron is going to come out, the Earthrise one, but this is my Megatron. This Megatron right here is going to be hard to beat, so I should do a review on him one day. He's not a lot of fun to play with. I hate transforming him, but I love the animated look for Megatron more than I like Optimus Prime. And if you wanted to see animated Optimus Prime, there you go. There's animated Optimus Prime. See, this is why I don't like putting a whole bunch of people in my tiny light box. I gotta get a bigger one, and when I get my wide angle lens, oh, it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, see what I'm talking about? You know, look at that. I mean, but I'm just gonna say it. Get this Optimus Prime, buy it, enjoy it, love it, get it while it's at a good price. There's also going to be the alternate universe Dead Prime coming out, and hopefully that'll be here by Saturday, because I think it's Friday. Yeah, Friday. If it is get here by Friday, we'll have that video review up, and we'll do a comparison just between the two primes, because that's really what we need to compare it to. Other than that, Earthrise Prime is a definite 10 out of 10. Go buy them, spend your money, you'll be happy. All right, this is the Toy Addict. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching my video. Have a nice night.